Welcome to part 3, peeps. Okay, the weather's turned cold, so I've got my jacket on. Yeah, because I haven't got the heating on at the moment. So, the Servos, the self-leveling sort of automatic writing itself unit. Do you know what? I'm getting old now. I can't remember what anything's called. But anyway, minimum RC call it Servos. So it's auto-correct. Now, the thing is, in the instructions, they do not include instructions for the Servos because the Servos is an optional extra. But they recommend putting the Servos in for this model. So what you'd normally do with all these cables, you put your receiver, your RX on the side here, and you use the provided tie wrap to bunch everything up all nice and neat. But because I'm using the Serv, you have to plug in the aileron and the elevator into the Serv, and the cables are only that long. So I've had to reroute everything. It took me a little while actually, but I can't use the tie wrap, or the zip tie some people call them. So I've had to sort of push the cables down. But in essence, what you have, you can see with the aileron, the elevator, that elevator horn's moving on its own without any guidance from me. So the system is working, and you can see with the ailerons, you've got the same thing. That's moving on its own. It's trying to stabilise the model. Now the trick is with these units. Gyro, that's the word I'm looking for, gyro. This is their version of a gyro. You have to have it flat and level when you plug in the battery. Okay, that's really important. You must take that on board. Now they supply a 3D printed sort of plastic box to put it in. I suppose it's because you need to glue it down, but I had to contact Minimum RC because there's nothing in the instructions about where to mount it. So I said, well, where did you mount it on the original? And they said, on the ply next to the aileron servo. Well, as you can see, that's wider than the servo. So I've had to put it behind the servo and next to the elevator servo, which is the only place I could put it. I couldn't put it further up here. Number one, it'll affect the CG. And the gap's too wide there. Okay, and there's nowhere in the nose because it slopes up inside and the outside slopes down, so there's nowhere else to put it. But it must be absolutely flat, absolutely level. Now also, as they indicate with the mounting instructions for this, where your switches are, that must point towards the nose. Okay, and as you can see, that's pointing towards the nose. That's quite important. So for long as you can do that, you're fine. So manually, there you go, it works manually. You've got quite a good throw on that, and there's your rudder, and again quite a good throw. Ailerons, probably not quite as big a throw, but you know, it's adequate, and they are trying to self-level. You can see that there. So it does work. It does work. But the gyro only works with the ailerons and the elevator. It's not designed to work with the rudder. Okay. So if you're wondering why the rudder's not moving, that's why. It's not designed to do that. It's just with the ailerons and the elevator, and of course you don't need it with the motor. It's immaterial. Okay, so the next part now is to put on the fuselage sides and start putting the skin on it and making it look like a jet aircraft. So just to offer that up to the camera, just so you get a better view of things, that's what it looks like. And that's my solution to the wiring issue. And underneath, there you go, you can see the ailerons are moving of their own accord. Okay. And there's your speed controller, or ESC if you like. and I've colour coded the plugs there, so I can't put the plug in wrong. This will have to go through the centre there, so it's only like that now because you know, otherwise I wouldn't be able to lay this flat. So there you go. So let's crack on with the fuselage. So we're going to start putting the fuselage together. Now I've had a quick look and I've done a quick dry run with this side, so I'm going to show you what I've done to get as far as I have. Now you need to get the two fuselage sides out. You need to get actually just the top of the bottom. This is the top, so this is the top here, okay, and you need to get the bottom. Now what I would say is that when you cut these out, obviously use your knife to do it. Just be aware there's little flashings that need to come out here and here, a few parts here. And then what I would do, I would get your nail file. You can buy these very cheaply from, well, in the UK we go to what they call the pound shop. I think in America you got the five and dime. And then just gently, not, you know, take it easy, just gently go over any nubs that might be sticking out from where you parted it from the spruce. Okay, square anything off. And it's good practice to do this anyway, whether you're doing a foam model or a plastic model, a wooden, especially a wooden model. Just get it all nice and flat and even, and check it both sides to see if you missed anything. Okay, there we are, just one bit at the end there. There you go. Okay, check the other side, one little bit there. Okay, so I've already done this to this side here. Right, now you need to bend some of the parts. Some of the parts bend outwards, so like the air intake, it bends outwards like that, so just be aware of that. Now I think in the photographs they show you using the screwdriver. I'm going to use the blunt end of my tweezers. Let's put this over here for a minute. I'm going to use the blunt end of my tweezers. This needs to be really blunt, okay. When I did the Stuka, I used the screwdriver, and I think it was a bit too sharp. Now what you want to do is get yourself a ruler and then just ever so gently go along the lines. They're not straight lines, they seem to junction off, so it's wise to use a ruler and just go over every line. Now they do say in the all the tops come off. They do say in the instructions not to do it on the line. I tend to probably agree with that. Just do it, you know, 1 millimeter off. Otherwise what you could do is actually go all the way through the foam, and you're just going to end up with parts of your fuselage lying around everywhere. And this is just to help the foam, the Depron, I think this is Depron, just to help it bend that little bit easier. There you go. What we got left, I think we've got this bit left here. So it takes a few seconds. Okay. Like I say, don't do it too hard, just nice and soft. There you go. I think we got everything. Maybe that one there. Okay. There you go. Right. Yeah. I think that's the lot. Looks. Oh, one more. you've got a lot of compound curves here. Just be aware of that. Okay, so that's now ready to go on the other side, but I've already pre-done this one. So as I said, this part actually comes out rather than going round because that's the air intake here. Be aware of that. Now we're going to come to the glues. Now you are supplied with UFO glue. This is the glue you need to use when you're gluing foam to foam, and the other glue is they supply you with is the 502, which is super glue. Okay, now there's nothing wrong with these at all, but I make models quite regularly, so I tend to use Foam Safe CA, Zappo Foam Safe. It's odorless. This is a medium to thick formula, and with that I use the Foam Safe Kicker. This is a chemical that goes into the CA there and makes it go off almost instantly. Okay, if you get stuck, or you excuse the pun, if you get stuck, that wasn't intended. Anyway, if you get stuck, you can buy a product called Stick To Super Glue Debonder, and I do use this occasionally because, believe it or not, we do make mistakes, like gluing our fingers together, believe it or not. Now, with when you're using foam, a good product to use is Yoo-Hoo Pour, P-O-R, Yoo-Hoo Pour. It's made in Germany, and that's pretty good. With Yoo-Hoo Pour, what you tend to do is you put Yoo-Hoo Pour on both sides of the surface, let it go off for a few minutes, and then stick it together and becomes a contact adhesive. So when you put it together, it sort of sticks. You can pull it apart, but once it's gone off, it's gone off. And if you want to part this for any reason, lighter fluid is quite good. Do I have any around me at the moment? I have some somewhere. It comes in a yellow tin. It's not at hand, but I have some. Lighter fluid, very good for debonding. So there's your topical tip. That's for today. That's free for nothing. So let us begin. So what I would do, I would tend to put some glue, maybe something pointy, would help if I could keep it in my hand. I would glue here and here and here. Let that go off. Let that go off. And then once it's gone off and it stays where it is, you then can proceed with the rest of the fuselage side. So then you need to put the top deck on. It seems to be followed by the bottom deck, and then the other side. So that's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to use the Foam Safe on this part because it goes off pretty quick and I don't want to be hanging around. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully this is going to come out okay. Normally it does. Do I need to? Yeah, I do need to cut that bit off there. Yeah, it's got stuck. Normally it's pretty good. Okay, here we go. That's probably a little bit too much. I think it is. And you need something to spread it around. Normally I've got a little stick, but this will do. Okay. Put that around there. There you go. Okay, now this is where the wing root is. That's got to go through there, like that. Okay, and it goes like that to that. which means you've got to hold it in place. Okay, I've got a little bit of glue on my fingers. I'm going to hold it there. Like that. And I'll just let that go off. So I'll let it the rest of this few seconds out, but that's where it goes. So you've now got this shape around the air intakes. Now you have to apply the glue to the plastic and hold it down and let that go off to take the shape on the plastic. Okay, and how I've done that is really very simple. I've just put some glue down there as I've gone along. It's bunged up again. I might have to put a tube on here, which I normally use for doing wings. Just apply that in. Don't want too much. You want to spread it around, okay? And then just hold it in place. Just make sure you don't get any glue on your hands, because if it sticks to the other side, you'll take off the photo etching. And then just hold it there. I might use the kicker just to speed things along a little bit. So you see, if you're doing this, you have to use the UFO glue, because you're gluing the foam to plastic. Do not use the 502. You'll melt that foam and ruin your model. There you can see that's taken. Okay, and you can see here where I've got glue on my fingers. Well, that can be easily corrected. Do that later. Okay, and then you've got this part here. So we're going to drop some glue in there. Okay, and spread that around. Okay, and then ease it round. Okay, probably put a little bit of pressure from the other side as well. This 3D printed plastic is pretty flexible, so it will move. It won't just stay still on its own. A bit of kicker on there. So I'm holding up from the other side as well as this side, and you just give it a little bit of time, and that will take. Okay, probably gone off already. Yeah, that's taken. So you can see now how the fuselage is starting to form round the internal structure. Okay, now with the motor, so what you've got is, where's my pen gone? Grab my pen. There you go. So you've got this here, and this here. Okay, and on the motor, right, that's the correct way up. So that sticks up, and you got that slot, and that slot there. Okay, so it can only go in one way, and I'll just take the top of my pen off, and there we go. So obviously the fan goes towards the front. Where's the flat top now? There it is. It looks a bit awkward, doesn't it? But there like that. You bend it round and that end slot, yeah, sticks out there. So I would say that's what you got to do. So instead of wasting video time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue that in place, and we'll see how that turns out. Well, I managed to glue the fuselage around the electric motor, the ducted fan. Now this part here is very weak at the moment, so you have to be very delicate. Now the next thing to do is to install the foam panels on the top of the fuselage. So you need this part here, and let me just grab my stick there, just get that right there. So there's a hole here that goes over the top of the ducted fan, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue here and here and on the ducted fan, get that in place, and at the nose here, and let that go off. And once that's gone off, I've then got to, I suppose, wean is, I don't know if that's the right word, the side of the fuselage to the top deck. Now you have to follow the contours of the fuselage, so it may be wise for me, I think, just to glue here, here and here first, glue the ducted fan in last, because this has to bend and I want it to take the contour of the fuselage. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I think that's the way forward. And then but the thing is, you see, if I do every step and show every single thing, this video is going to be like 3 hours long. So I'm going to cut it there, glue, 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 attach that fuselage side with glue to this, and I'm going to find a tube for that, I think, to make that process a little bit easier. And so when you next see it, it's going to look, get that in place, it's going to look like that. And then the next step after that is, just looking at the instructions, is to put the bottom deck on, and then put the opposite fuselage side on, which would be that one. And I think that's the way to go forward. I think this is probably going to be the most awkward part, and then after this it should be plain sailing, I think. This is just going to take a little bit of patience. Don't rush it, don't rush it. It's a nice looking model, and if you rush it, you're just going to get into problems. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and I'll just edit it there. Okay, we're rapidly coming to the end of part 3. I've got both sides on, I've got the floor in, and it's all together now. I have to do a little bit of sanding though to make it all fit and be uniformed. Now there's one thing I thought I'd better end on in part 3, is this little part here. This little part here caused me a lot of trouble, because in the instructions they say install fuselage patch. I couldn't find that. I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I realised I discarded it on this spruce here. It's mounted like this here. So cutting that out, okay, there you go, that's where it is. So if you cannot find that part, it's on that spruce. Okay, so where does it go exactly? Well, you've got a gaping hole here, and you're going to need tweezers, I think. Well, I'm using tweezers anyway, and that goes in there on both sides. So I'm going to put some of my glue. I've got the tube, by the way. You see that tube there. We normally use it for wicking in ribs and stuff on wings. So you need some glue on there. Then the rest of the glue, using your tweezers, will go either side here. Okay. Like that. And then hopefully that will go in there. And there we are. It's not the best fit in the world, but that's where it goes. So I'm going to use a bit of fix on that. So I'll do the other one at the end of the video. So that is the fuselage put together. It is tricky to get everything level, especially around the back end where the ducted fan is. The front end is not too bad, but it is tricky. So just be prepared for that. Okay. And so I think now that that's all in one piece, what's the next piece to go on? I have to put in the fuselage. The next part is to put on the air inlets and the magnets for the hatch, etc. So that'll be in part 4. So there you go, that's what the fuselage looks like. Whoop. There you go. That should still turn, hopefully. Yeah, that's free to turn. The impeller's free to turn. So as long as the impeller's free to turn, everything should be good. And that's what it looks like. So that's the end of part 3. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in part 4. And as I keep saying, I don't get paid for this. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that, so, or buy me a copy. So just like and subscribe, give the thumbs up. That's all I need from you, and that will cost you absolutely nothing but half a second of your time. So see you in part 4. See you later, peeps.